Oh, wait.
Are you guys all rolling? Great.
Yeah. All right. I was like, were we ready? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mr. Red's Lair. I thank you for joining us. If you like, give us a like, share, and subscribe on the old YouTube and social media. I am here with April Mendoza.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And behind the scenes, we got Silent Chris, and we got Blake doing engineering.
Famous Blake.
Yeah, he said yo, 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 but his mic is off.
Oh, why did you turn his mic
Joining
off?
us today is the one and only Jack McCafferty.
Welcome, Jack.
Thank you for having me, guys. Super excited.
Hell
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, appreciate you coming through.
April, why are we speaking to Jack today?
Today, we're going to be talking about his film, Dreaming of You. And we're going to be talking about all things behind the scenes of making this indie film. And yeah, do you want to give us a quick little intro on your film, what it is,
sure thing.
and your role in the film?
Dreaming of You is a romantic comedy that explores anxiety through the lens of dreams. Not like the lens of dreams, through the lens of dreams. And it stars myself and Lauren LaVera. And it was a very small little movie we made basically in my parents' garage. And then I animated some dream sequences on top of it.
It's a very charming film, and I look forward to being released and whatnot.
Well,
now, my first question, how the fuck old are you, kid? How old are you?
So I am 30 years old.
30.
I am 30.
You're a baby.
I look much younger than I am.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the film. From
thank you.
one animator to another, great work.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
I
loved
thank
it.
you so much. And so you're 30 years old.
I'm 30 years old.
How old
No,
are you?
you're not supposed to ask people that.
I have to. I have to. Because
I still get carded. It's fine.
Right, right.
No, you do look very young.
The whole time I'm watching this, and when I say you look young, I mean you look youthful and healthy.
Oh, thank
And I'm
you.
like, this youthful, healthy person made this film and animated it. I
And
thought you were.
accomplished, right? I mean, at 30 years old, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's funny. I wrote the movie when I was 26. Then we shot it when I was 28.
Oh,
and
wow.
We finished it when I was 29, and now we're finally premiering it when I'm 30. So it's been like a long process.
Long journey. I mean, hey, we can relate.
Yeah, we made
Especially
Debbie and the
Nas,
Devil. Yes, I mean, we as a team made Debbie and the Devil. April produced it. Silent Chris co-produced it. In our journey, when we premiered it, we met Blake because he was an intern with us, and now he's like one of our soldiers. I just
Heck
got to
yeah.
say, you're with the big boys now. Woo, woo. You know what I mean? Yeah, making features, making movies.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean-
proud of you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, our film took about the same length, like 4 years, but a little bit more just because you wrote it many, many years ago.
Yeah, more than
But-
10 years. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how long the process is and just how many little bumps you aren't expecting.
100%. Yeah.
And then I would like tell people like, oh, we shot the movie, and then people who were like, we used their houses or something. They're like, all right, when's it going to be done? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe a year. And they're like, a year? And
Right.
I was like, I thought that was a good turnaround. for
Oh
what
my
we're
God!
doing.
That's the thing. It is though.
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially if they're not in the film industry, they don't know the actual turnaround times for these films. I mean, sometimes they take, especially on the indie level, it can take up to 6 years, sometimes more. But I feel like on average, like 2 to 5 is like pretty average for an indie film.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
you also with indie film usually you're doing other things on top of it because
Yeah.
it's indie. You don't have the funding to like it's not paying your rent. It's
Yes.
not doing all that. Like at one point I was literally working at Chipotle because I'm like I need
Yeah.
to pay rent and I'm working on a movie. So all right, here making
Right,
some burritos.
Right,
Yes, and I love it. Yeah.
Question, where did you shoot the film?
So we shot that in my parents' garage is like the main location. That was the main like inspiration of like it's very much a COVID movie.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
for
right.
sure. So,
Oh, okay.
So basically how the movie happened was I was working this job full time in Hollywood, and I was basically working like 80 hours a week, and it was ridiculous. COVID struck, and then all of a sudden I was getting like unemployment because
Ooh.
I mean we all were.
Juicy unemployment
I
checks.
know, and because I had this job
Yeah.
that was very corporate or whatever, I was like, I'm making more money not working for these people than I
Yeah.
ever did working for these people.
That's funny.
So
So
then
weird.
I also had to move back home because I was like, why would I be in LA spending LA rent
Right.
for all that? And so I was getting a little bit more money than I've ever had in my life. Not for other people, it'd be like, oh, that's a decent amount. And for me, I'm like, this is life changing.
Yeah,
I'm like, what am I
100%.
gonna like do now? Eventually that ended, and I was helping my dad clean out the garage because he couldn't go to the gym. My dad's a very big gym rat. So we were cleaning out the garage. I'm like, we have a lot of weird like shit here. Like it's just a very interesting location
Yeah.
to me. So I was just like, I could call up my buddies and be like, hey, we're going to make a movie. And that's exactly what happened.
I love that. That's so funny. So did your dad end up making his gym, or did you put it on hold because of the film?
Oh, the gym is in the movie. I just like piled more crap on top of the equipment.
Nice.
Like literally, because I also had to, just because life is cyclical, had to move back home because I was like, well, I need to afford the festival run now of the movie. And I can't do LA rent and the festival run. So I moved back home there, and I've already gained 10 more pounds just having a gym to work out at.
Right.
And I've just been like, this is awesome. Like, I did a good job making this.
Good, yeah.
In your words, what is this movie? What is it?
What is it? It's very cute. I would say.
Yeah. It's very charming.
My mom goes, it's adorable. And I'm like, thank you. We have a talking teddy bear in it. And essentially, it's a romantic comedy, but it's also very much like those slice of life. I wouldn't say slice of life, because we have more of a plot than most slice of life movies. But it is definitely almost like I opened a vein into a lot of my own issues and stuff for this film. Which initially wasn't my intention, but then, as many of you know, like writing stuff, and all of a sudden you're writing, and then it's a little more personal, and you're like, huh, all right.
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
Right. I mean, you have to write what you know, and I feel like the more personal. I think you mentioned this in your press kit. I feel like the more personal and detailed, it's more relatable to audiences, which is like, it seems very counterintuitive or whatever.
Exactly. You think like the more specific you get to yourself, the more people would be like, that's weird. But no, the weirder and more specific you get, they go, I know what he's talking about there.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me about the shooting schedule.
So I think in the end, we only had like 11 days of shooting, maybe 12. And so, it was very much like, because the movie is essentially, the dream sequences are to the side of the actual live action portion, we were able to be like, okay, so we just need to, even though we also had to shoot a lot of the dream sequences on green screen, it's a very complicated film. But
Wait, what was shot on green screen?
we had to do a lot of the dialogue was done on green screen as well, just to have it on backup, just in case like we have the actors now, let's get it now, let's put it on green screen, like all that.
Interesting. Really?
But
you didn't end up using it.
I know.
Okay, got it.
But so I was mainly focusing on like the live action portions for the shooting schedule. So it was more like shooting 3/4 of a movie, and then on top of that, work it through.
100%. Again, we can relate.
Yeah. But
So
I mean,
funny.
anything like these labors of love, they take a while, as we've mentioned with independent film.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a big question. How did you get Lauren LaVera
So
of Terrifier 2? Terrifier
she's
2
amazing.
fame.
she is amazing.
She's
She was
so great.
amazing to work with and just lovely to have on set.
Yeah.
And she just lights up the screen every time she's on camera.
Yeah,
She's very good. Yeah.
So I used to work in casting in Philadelphia. I worked at Huey Loftus Casting, and we would do films like Creed 2 was like the big one. I think we still have like the record of Philadelphia for most extras hired for a movie.
Really?
At least in Philadelphia for Creed 2.
Oh, shit.
And that was because we needed like 600 extras a day for like 30 days.
Wow, that's a lot.
And in case you don't know, it's not fun to be an extra in a movie.
Right.
So people would do one day and then call us up and be like, I'm never coming back.
Really?
And I'd be like, oh no, I didn't see this coming.
Right.
And then I just have 600 new people.
Is it that bad? That's nuts.
It was that month of shooting
Right.
for Creed 2 was insane.
Oh.
But anyway, so I worked in casting, and Lauren was one of the people we would bring in for like commercial auditions and stuff. And she was just very friendly and like would hang out with us after her audition, be like, hey, what's up, blah, blah, blah. She saw one of my short films. I remember this very vividly. I think it was the short film Meta, which is on YouTube. It's like 2 minutes long if anyone wants to check that out.
Check it out.
Yeah, please do it.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check it out, you fuckers.
And I remember she was just like, hey, when are we going to work together? When are we going to do something?
Oh,
and I immediately was like, that's a good question. So
Oh, so sorry.
Let's pause for a second.
second.
What the fuck? So, how did you score Lauren LaVera from Terrifier 2?
So Lauren, actually, we knew each other from back when I worked in casting in Philadelphia. I worked at Huey Loftus Casting, and we would do big movies, and we would also do commercials and stuff. And Lauren was one of our regulars who would just come in and be like one of our, like, okay, we need this certain type of person. Obviously, we'll call Lauren. And Lauren would come, and she was just cool to, like, hang out with us afterwards. I mean, and just be like, hey, what's up, blah, blah, blah. Very personable. And one day she came in, and I had just come out with a short film called Meta. And it was like starting to get a little bit of heat online. By the way, it's still online. It's only 2 minutes long if anybody wants to watch it. It's just called Meta. It was before Facebook was Meta.
Check it out, you fuckers. Yeah.
It's the better Meta.
It's the better Meta. It's very funny. But she came in and she was just like, so when are we going to work together? And I was like, that's a good question. And I remember that very night, I was like, oh, cool, Lauren wants to do something with me. Let's figure out something like a short film we can do. And I started writing and came up with absolutely nothing. And I was just like, I don't know.
Right.
So years later, years later, I hadn't seen her in a while. But I was working, obviously, I was like, all right, I'm making a feature. And I was writing, and I'm like, you know who would be great for this? It was like a little bit through, I'm like, Lauren would be amazing in this role. So I started kind of writing it with her in mind.
Nice.
And she was obviously my first choice for the role. And funnily enough, way back when we first started, we had a producer attached who eventually was not attached. Gotta love Hollywood.
Yeah, happens more often
Did
than
not want Lauren in the role.
Really?
At all.
What?
I would be like, no, I have like this. She's a friend of mine. Like she's an amazing actress. Like she's gonna be great. And he's like, I don't want her. I was like fighting him on this.
Really?
And it was
You stood
a
your
big
ground,
thing.
and that's a great thing.
And like I was like, no, it's cool. And then like Terrifier, like it was announced she was in Terrifier 2, and I'm like, listen, no, dude, she's in this movie. Like this is gonna be a hit.
Yeah.
Wait, question. So this was all pre-Terrifier 2?
This is all pre-Terrifier 2.
Okay,
But like during?
Like so she had shot Terrifier 2.
Okay.
And it was still like the press was like leaking out, and I didn't know she was in it until much later. And then once I found out, I was like, well, this is the leverage. Like, listen, like, dude, he's not into horror at all. So I'm like, listen, Terrifier 1 is a cult hit. Like, no matter what, this is going to have some cult status. I had no idea it was going to blow up the way it did.
Oh my God, I
right,
know.
right.
Yeah, same here.
It was like the difference of like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 almost. Like, everybody knows.
Massive.
Yeah, everybody
knows. And those
knows
toys are in
Terrifier
every
2.
horror store too, like the costumes, memes, like everywhere.
And so I didn't even know it was going to be that, but I was just like, listen, this is a guaranteed cult hit. Like, come on, like, let me reach out to her. I'm sure she'll do it. All that. And he just wouldn't do it. And eventually for other reasons as well, because he was also like, I want to co-direct. And I was like, no.
What?
This guy sounds like an asshole. Like,
Sorry.
Yeah.
We didn't
Fuck.
leave on the best of terms. I tried to leave, like, being like, hey, man, this just isn't working. He didn't enjoy that at all.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Which was
Interesting.
odd. But as like literally as soon as we were parted ways with him, I messaged Lauren. I'm like, hey, I have this script. Can I send it your way? And would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah.
And she read the script. She's like, I'm in.
I love
and
it.
I was like, awesome.
Aw.
We're off to the races now.
That's such a great example of just like trusting your gut as a creative, as a person, whoever you may be, you know, because like if you know it's gonna work and you see it, like you wrote it with her in mind, like who else could play that character, you know?
Exactly.
No one better, but.
And then she comes on set, and it's like she immediately was like, oh, I know exactly what this character is, and did it like perfectly, and so much so that everybody who watches the film, like they'll go, oh, that was fun, and then they'll go, she was amazing.
Lauren is great.
Thanks.
She really is great. I loved her in Terrifier 2, but she was really great in this movie. Both of you guys are.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
So- go ahead. Because I have a more chisme tea
Okay, yeah, no,
question.
you go ahead first.
No, you go.
Okay.
You sure? Go ahead.
Yeah. I was sort of changing. Anyway, so.
Oh, wait, you were going to change?
Yeah.
Okay, then let me ask this question.
Yeah.
How'd you break off from this douchebag Stugatz, motherfucker Stugatz? You're in the mafia now, baby. Stugatz, bitch.
Nos loves the tea.
So in one of our, and it's a shame because like he was a friend of mine and all that, and it's just a shame like that sometimes you just don't work well with people.
Yeah.
And
People
I wish him
drift
all
apart.
the best. I wish him all the best. But he was really feeling his oats, and I had mentioned way back when that I wanted one of the dreams to be puppets, which eventually, unfortunately, we couldn't do just for budgetary reasons. Which my next movie's gonna have puppets because I love
it.
puppets.
We did a thing with puppets recently.
Yeah. It's just fun.
It's
more
so fun. It is.
So eventually, that turned into me animating it by myself again.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really want this last dream sequence to be puppets. And so he took it upon himself to reach out to, weirdly, Jason Sudeikis and was like, hey, Jason, you can have stake in this movie if you help us produce this one scene. And I was like, wait, you didn't, like, talk to me about this? You can't just send some random celeb.
Yeah.
Odds are, like, he didn't even read it and just went, whatever.
Well,
and
he
like,
was going through a lot of marital problems, I believe, right? At that time.
He was also working on something in Philadelphia.
Olivia
which is where
Wilde
we
was
shoot.
leaving
really?
the driveway and he cried.
Or
I
not
heard.
Jason Sudeikis, Jason Segel. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Jason
Okay,
Sudeikis.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, sorry. The Jason Segel who has a relationship with the Muppets. So it was a little weird. Also that we were going through a middleman who was still very high up that we probably weren't going to get to the Muppets. At that point, maybe just go for the Muppets.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he did that, and I was just like, hey, man, let's not do that. And he went, I don't think you wanted me to produce this project. And I went, you know what, man, I don't know if it's a right fit. I think we should. And then he just basically hung up, tried to call him back, wouldn't do it.
Wow.
And then, this is the weird thing. And I'm sorry. Once again, I feel bad. But then he went and emailed my ride or die crew who have been working with me since college.
Right.
Like, I believe that film is a collaborative experience and Jack doesn't believe in collaborative experiences and he is a bad person and blah, blah, blah. And then my DP who did not like this guy at all. Because he also wouldn't let us film on the camera we ended up filming on, which we got for free because our buddy had it.
Yeah. What?
He was like, we want a different camera. I'm like, no, but free.
Yeah. Use what you have.
My DP is like, did he not know he's literally talking to like your best friends who've worked with you on multiple projects? Like,
yeah.
What
a prick.
Especially,
No, I'm going there. I'm going there.
You heard it here first.
Before we get to April's question, which I know is going to be a great one, okay? I just have to say, in this business, you got to cut loser friends out. I had a loser friend, and he's out of my life. That's how it works. We move up in the business, you cut him out.
I mean, friend or not, I mean, this is your passion project. This is your baby, your first feature film,
my first feature, and it was written to be my first feature film, and it was written to be. He also really was like ballooning the budget more than I was like, no, dude, we're making Clerks, and he's like, no, we're not. We're making. I think he said something like Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which is a way bigger budget.
Do you know what their budget was?
I think it was at least $1 million, if not.
It's like one of those air quote indie films that have stars or whatever.
It's not indie the way we know indie.
Wanted to make, and I'm like, no, that's how you don't make an indie film. Is you try and make that, and that was a big fight as well.
Right. Oh no.
Look. You gave me the tea. I'm satisfied with it. I'll end it with this. I hate this prick, whoever this guy is. I hate it.
But you did the right thing. I mean, you have to protect your baby. I mean, like, you have the vision for it, and only you truly know. And you have to make sure that the people that are on your side are like, you know, they're for you. They're there for you and the vision. They don't secretly want to sabotage the film or like try to just get something out of it that only benefits them. So it's a tricky situation. And we've talked to a good amount of filmmakers on this podcast about their experiences with certain people that just weren't part of the team. Yeah. You know, it's like, and that's like honestly the most important thing is having the right team.
Yeah. And shout out to my cinematographer, Anthony Murata, who's like my ride or die. Like, he, through all of the ups and downs of this, he's like, dude, if we're going to shoot a movie in hell, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
I love it. That's the kind of people you want on your side. Like, indie cinema, indie filmmaking is hard. Like, you know, you have to go through the ringer and you got to be with people that are willing to go through hell with you, like you said. So
it is hellacious.
Yeah.
It is hellacious.
What's like, do you have any interesting stories of the making of, like, the most difficult day?
The most difficult day is definitely the day I lost my voice.
You lost your voice?
I lost my voice. And as you guys have seen the movie, I am in every single scene.
Right.
So what had happened was it was a mixture of I was living in LA at the time, and I went back to PA where my allergies get really bad.
Oh, okay.
And it was in the middle of the spring when allergy season is like really kicking up. And one day, and I'm talking more than I normally ever would. And so one day, like, we're filming, and I think it was on the green screen. So we're doing green screen stuff where I'm talking, I'm like, does my voice sound different to you guys? And they're like, no, dude, it's in your head or whatever. I'm like, no, I think my voice is sounding different. Anyway, I better take care of my voice. I'm going to start chugging this black tea. That's what's good for my voice. Black tea.
Oh no.
For those who can't tell in my tone, that's like the worst thing apparently you can do to your voice. So I'm chugging this black tea.
No way.
And so throughout the day, my voice is getting worse and worse until one day, one take, I hope we have it on camera. I wish I could find it. But I'm like talking, then all of a sudden, I went,
oh no.
Oh no. This is bad.
Oh no. Yeah. And is this like in the middle of shooting?
Gone. Yeah. This is the middle of shooting. This is one of the, this is like the section where we're doing all of the scenes with Lauren and all that. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good at all.
Oh no.
And this was also during the middle of COVID too. So we're all like, is it COVID?
Oh shit.
Did a test? No. It's not even like a symptom of COVID. Like no one loses their voice with COVID, but it's just like in your mind.
Everyone's paranoid at that point.
That, like, test, you're like, is this? And with like SAG and like insurance and stuff, if I had COVID, movies done, never making the movie again because they make you pay the stuff like up front. So it's like, we're done.
You'd be fucked.
I'd be fucked.
Yeah.
So taking that test was the scariest thing ever. And
shit.
My brother was, because he's was studying to be in the medical field at that time, was like our COVID compliance officer.
Oh, okay.
And he's just like, I don't think it's COVID, but let's do a test. I mean, if you want to do a test, I'm like, I got to do it, like, and then nothing. And we were like, thank God. But then I didn't have a voice.
For how long?
For at least 2 or 3 days.
Oh my, so okay. What?
And once again, 11 days of shooting.
What?
So what we did is we were like, all right, redo the schedule. Anything that Jack has one line in, or like he can maybe like muster. And there are scenes now.
No way.
I think that exact day was we were supposed to shoot the opening of us in the waiting room, which is a very important scene. This is our meet cute. This is us doing banter and being like, oh, cool. Like, here's the blossoming of a relationship. And I don't have a voice. So what we did is we shot that scene with like all the nurses stuff and then with some of Lauren's stuff. And then we were like, we're coming back to do your stuff. And I was like, you guys have to promise me we're coming back. Like, I literally went up to my AD and I'm like, you're promising me we're going to get like a good version of this. And he's like, yes, don't worry. So
did you shoot backups that day? Just of you in the waiting room?
Yeah, we did like wides of my like.
Right.
It's nice to meet you. Hello.
Right.
I'm like, damn, I don't know.
And
what
I'm like, I don't like ADR at all. And so I'm like, let's not ADR especially because for indie films, it can go really wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, let's avoid that as much as possible.
That's always the best plan to avoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question about the lost voice. Sometimes when I lose my voice, there'll be a period afterwards where my voice sounds just a little sexier.
Oh,
like a little raspier and
that might have
sexier.
helped the movie.
And I'll use it. I'll talk to my lady friends and stuff.
I love it.
Did you have that like period where you're like, damn, it was something pretty good?
There are 1 or 2 lines in there, and I'm like,
nice.
I don't think I could do that again.
Nice.
But.
Now, I have a big question.
Wow.
I see you here, excellent young man, a charming, respectful, polite young man, nice guy. And not like nice guy in air quotes, a genuinely kind soul. I dare to say a Gandhi-like figure. Okay.
I was with you, and then I'm like, right.
Okay, now.
Not that nice.
You have a moment of intimacy with Lauren LaVera in the film.
Yes.
How does a gentleman navigate that type of scene? Because it's very sensitive. I understand that in the business now they have intimacy coordinators and stuff for that type of stuff. How did you handle it?
So most of the scene, like I specifically said that in the very beginning, we're only going to kiss on camera at the very end. Everything else is just implied.
That's hot.
In fact,
that's cool.
And I always was very clear, like, Lauren, are you okay with this? Like, even like when we were because we're sleeping together, we're dating in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you okay with me just being in boxers? It's like, is that okay?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I was in Terrifier too. Like, yeah, it's fine. But you have to ask. You can't be just like, oh, by the way, this is what's happening. Anyway, action.
Right.
So
I think, all people really want, and this isn't even like a crazy scene. Like you said, it's just kissing and stuff like that. But I think all people really want is consent and no surprises.
Yeah.
Because that's like the worst thing you could ever do to a woman, like, or to anybody, you know, just like, oh, hey, we changed the script and now you're kissing somebody. And that's another story for another day. But that kind of happened to me like in college, where it's, you know, they called me up and they're like, oh, you're going to be in the scene and you're kissing this guy, by the way. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that feels like college people who just like don't understand, like, no, you need, or they were embarrassed to ask it. So they were like,
or they didn't think about it. They didn't think about it. Like, they didn't think it was a big deal, but it's like, you know, so.
No, I was
happy
very
to hear
much
that,
like,
you know,
we got to do this by the books. Like whenever, for instance, there's a scene early on that is implied that she and I have sex on our date. Spoilers. And the way that it's done in the movie is I essentially go in and then I take her off camera and then we zoom in on the projector.
that was good. I really like that. Yeah, that was like clever. Because honestly, we're not big fans of like gratuitous anything, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, we don't really want to see it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I really like
have a funny story about that as well. But so we were doing this shot and it's not working. At first we do it, it just looks clunky.
Oh, okay.
We do it again, it just looks worse. And then my DP, who, again, my ride or die, he's like, oh, Jack, can I talk to you real quick outside? We exit the garage. And he's like, are you, like, afraid to kiss her, bro? And I went, no, we're doing a thing here. Like, it's cool. Like, once we do it, like, you'll see it and you'll be like, I got it. And then the very next take we got, and he goes, shit, he's right.
Nice.
And I think even at that point, Lauren was like, you can kiss me if you like. Because it was taking a little bit to get this one shot, and we were, because it's an indie film, barreling through everything else, and then this one shot is like, and I'm like, no, we need, this is one I want.
Right. See, I need to know this for when I make my movie with Dolly Parton and we have our scenes, you know, I need to be gentlemanly and not, you know, the movie's called Honk City.
Oh, but, perfect.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you disrespect my Dolly.
I'm sorry, Dolly. I love you.
She's a saint.
She's the best.
But you were talking about like sex and stuff, and it is obviously a romantic comedy, and like the sex is a big part of relationships and all that. So the original script, I personally don't usually work very blue. And that's just a personal point. It's not me putting down anyone who does, anything like that. That's just more me. I'm like, I don't want to say lazy, but I don't want that to be like the thing I fall back on. Like, all right, we're doing a sex joke now. If we're doing a sex joke, in my mind, I'm like, that better be funny as hell. Right. So we have one or two, but most of it's very PG throughout. Most of it. We have one F-bomb, but we gave it to the teddy bear.
I love that teddy bear, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very funny.
Thank you.
That was you, right?
Yeah. Oh,
that's so good.
A man of many talents.
Wow, that's so cool. No, he was probably my favorite.
I might cast you in Honk City.
Thank you.
We're not making Honk City.
Okay.
I'm in.
Fair enough.
Where do I sign? But the original script had even less sex in it. And then my mom, who's like, you wrote a script? Let me read it. She reads it and she goes, I think you need to imply a little more sex in this.
Your mom.
My mom, who's
so
very
good.
free-spirited.
Shout out, Mom.
And
okay.
And so
Miss
that's how that
McCafferty.
entire scene came about. Because I'm
Hey,
like,
Miss
you want it, Mom?
McCafferty.
Here you go.
Right. Now,
good.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You mentioned your mom, and then you also mentioned your brother working on the film. And I saw in the press kit that your whole family was involved in this film.
It's about as indie film gets. My entire immediate family was involved in this film in some way. My sister did hair. My mom did makeups. Like I got a black eye in the movie.
Wow.
My mom did that.
That's so cool.
She did all the catering for the movie.
Yeah.
My brother was our COVID compliance officer. My father did. We have a couple original songs. My father was in the band Brew Review back. If you're from Philly, you probably know the name, or maybe if you're from Philly of a certain age, you know the name. So, as I said, it was like during COVID. So, like, I was feeling depressed. My dad was feeling depressed. And part of the movie was like, I bet I could like give my dad like a project to
that's so nice.
Get his juices flowing and being excited about it. And so
and you're getting him creative.
That's and so like cool. Also like production value for my thing. Like most indie films do not have a song for the opening credits that is for the movie.
So did he do the opening credit music and was it like an original track towards the end of the film?
So there is another dream sequence that I like basically think of like the pink elephants on parade where like we kind of just go like, we're going to do some weird wacky
I really like
have
that.
Music going.
Inside the house. Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was one where people were like, maybe we should cut that down. I'm like, nah, that's my dad's stuff. That's staying. That's
cool.
not up for debate. We got to keep that in. And then he did the end credit song as as well.
Oh.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, so 3 songs that my
That's dope.
father added to the film. So the entire family was
Damn.
involved.
Okay.
Which doesn't happen often.
That's very. I feel like it's common to have your family involved in indie cinema, like or indie filmmaking, but not to the extent of how your family was involved.
Yes.
Like I mean, my family has helped on most projects just by lending stuff or sometimes catering, but I mean, I don't think they've ever done like hair or even music. I mean, my parents aren't creatives, or at least not anymore. But so are both of your parents or your whole family? Are they creatives too?
My mom used to do like special effects makeup. I think she
Oh,
worked for
really?
a magician at some point
Stop.
in her life.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, okay.
was a magician's
That's dope.
assistant for a bit.
Oh my
And then my
gosh.
father was a musician for like all the 80s, and like I think his reunion has now gone longer than the original band run was.
Oh.
But yeah, so he would like sell out like the Electric Factory and
Wow,
stuff like
okay.
that in
So you have a
Philadelphia.
very, very creative family.
Yes, yes, yes,
I
indeed.
love that. That's
No
so
money
cool.
involved, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
As my father says, I've gained his ability to basically spend money and never make it.
Right, right. Well,
But
that
who-
is
you
going to
know?
change.
That's
for
what I'm
you.
saying. You're gonna break
hope
that
so.
cycle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
That's
you're
very
a winner.
exciting.
You're a winner, Jack.
Oh, I
You're a
thank you.
winner.
I
You're with the
appreciate
big
it.
boys now, Jack. Listen, Jack, I got to tell you something. I have a question.
Go for it.
Please explain the animation journey of all of this, because I can relate. To see that poster over there, Debbie and the Devil, and
Yeah.
Mr. Red's Gruesome Stories. I did the art, the upcoming film Showdown in
I
Hell.
love
I'm
it.
doing some concept art for it. Explain to me your animation journey, because when I did that for Debbie and the Devil animation, our backs were against the wall. We had no choice.
Yeah.
We were bamboozled by some fucking dumb fucking motherfucker. I'm sorry, I know you don't work blue, but I do. But fuck you. All right. But explain, how did you get there?
So I've been doing animation since like high school. I remember like it was either my birthday or Christmas, and they're like, "All right, what do you want for whatever?" And I was like a freshman maybe in high school. I'm like, I want this program called Adobe Flash. I want to get my hands into this, and it was expensive. I remember they're like, "Well, that's like all you're gonna get," and I'm like, I don't care. I want to try that, and so I started working through that, and then that evolved. And then essentially after college, I made 2 web series that I really enjoy and ended up getting like a little bit of a fan base. And by a little bit, I mean a very little bit, like dozens maybe.
Right.
But they would I would still get messages like, "Hey, when's the next season?"
No,
of
that's cool, and it's affirming.
you.
You know what I mean? It's like doesn't matter how small it is. I always like the comparison of like imagine those 50 people that are watching your video or liking your picture or your videos are in the same room as you, and they're all complimenting you.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of people, but it's hard to see, like, 'cause, when you think of like online fandoms and, going viral, you think of people in like the thousands or the millions.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, no,
no,
hold on.
you got to start off with like a little
Yeah.
group,
That
and like
counts
the
and that
algorithm
grows.
just never liked my stuff, so it was like that's fine. But these like people would be like, "Hey, when's the next episode of Horizon the Conqueror?" Was the first one, and I was like, "Well, I might be done with that one because no one watched it." But then I made Clowns in Heck, and then a similar thing happened where people were like, "When's the next season of Clowns in Heck?" And I went, "No one watched it. I don't know. I'm going to move on."
Wait a minute, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you don't work blue, but you made a short film called Whores on the Concord?
Oh, wait a minute.
Horizon the Conqueror.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait,
There's a
spell
little
that
bit of
for me.
blueness in Horizon. The
Is it
first
horse
episode.
or horizontal?
Horizon. It was basically
Horizon.
It's like Horizon. I'll tell you the name Horizon. It's just like a medieval kind of thing.
Okay.
The name did come from the word horizontal. I'm like, all right, what the hell am I
Yeah.
gonna name this guy? And I had like a textbook out, and the word horizontal was there, and I just like took the I out.
Right. We are so connected because of my work with Debbie. I made a short film called Whores on Drugs.
There you
Very,
go.
yeah.
Oh gosh, shut up. No, you said it.
I'm sorry. He's such a nice guy. He brings out the devil in me. It's weird. I just, and go ahead, April. You had a question?
Oh, did I?
Did you?
Oh, no, I
Okay,
wasn't.
well, I have to say something just right here and now. You are a very sweet, lovely man.
Oh, thank you very
You're a very
much.
nice kid. I would hate to see the industry take you and mangle you.
They've tried.
They've tried. They won't do it. I sense that you have an unbreakable spirit, which is what you need to make a feature film, to do any work of art.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about earlier, like we had a producer who burnt a bridge, like, and I was like, literally, this is my first feature, and I'm like, how did this happen right away?
Right.
So I like,
It happens, yeah. It happened to
similar
us too.
things, yeah.
But it's for the sake of protecting the film.
Exactly.
And then, you know,
Or like
you don't have to feel bad about it.
working with certain things, and then you're like, well, that what puts a negative like taste in my mouth, but you got to move on. Like someone you thought was going to come through didn't. It's whatever.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah.
But so okay, you studied animation.
Yeah. So I was doing these animated little web series, and I was basically trying just to churn them out, because the real star of those was like my writing and stuff like that, just to focus on that. And I essentially went, well, what if I tried with the animation a little bit? Tried to do some interesting things that no one else is doing because I'm self-taught. And so I am breaking the rules. I know generally of the rules, but most of the time I'm breaking them. And so that came into a few shorts that people really enjoyed. And then when I was making this feature, I'm like, well, what do I have at my disposal that other people don't? Well, I could animate some stuff. And so I was like, well, then I'm going to do these big dream sequences. I'm going to have like special effects. We're going to do green screen stuff. We're going to do all this cool like stuff that I've learned over all these projects I've done. And I did not understand how much work that was going to be, because it almost broke me.
Oh my God.
But it was like,
I don't mean to laugh at your pain.
no.
We've been there.
It was completely self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I was essentially making, I think we have like maybe 8 animated things, sequences with all different art styles, all different ways of building it. I used After Effects for most of my animation, so it's all like puppeting, but I wanted to build them in different ways so they all have a different vibe.
Yeah.
Which was very effective, I must say. They all had their own stylistic.
Yeah, it's very fun to see like, oh, what's next? Like, what style?
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I'm not Disney, but I can pizzazz the living hell out of this. So that, and the pizzazz stuff wouldn't work for a full feature film, but if it's only like a 2 to 5 minute section of a movie, you're like, yeah, all right, so this one is in the code of like a Matrix thing. I'm in. Let's do it.
Great transitions. I think my favorite is probably the first one. I think it's the first one where they're on ice.
Yes.
And they're getting chased by polar bears. And there's a lot of cute little jokes in that one where one of them is like, oh, you can use global warming against them.
Kip.
That's so cute.
That's
global warming, their one true weakness.
Nice.
Very cute, very clever. But so in your mind, how long did you anticipate this taking, the animated part of it?
I honestly don't even know how long I thought it would take, but
so
it literally was from, I was working on the animation before the script was even had a first draft, because I was like, all right, so I wrote this thing about icebergs, and I was like, all right, well, what's that going to look like? So while I'm writing the rest of the script, I'm like doodling in my computer, being like, all right,
you can start building backgrounds.
What does this look like? What does that look like? And being like, okay, so then this is coming together. This is doable. All right, I'll come back to this. What the hell does the code? It's made out of code. How am I going to do that? I've never done anything like that. And so building it from there.
Wow.
Wow. That's so crazy. I mean, I feel like if you knew what would go into making this film, you probably wouldn't do it.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah. So I feel like it's always better to go in a little ignorant, to be honest.
I was listening to a podcast about the Jamaican bobsledding team, and he said you need the right mixture of ignorance and confidence.
That's Yep.
I have to say, I mean, it took us, and by us, I mean, I was doing the animation and stuff, and I had the support of my partners who are here. And, but it was tough. It was the worst 6 weeks in terms of that production, because the whole thing is on your shoulders. Did you have a similar feeling?
Well, so most of it, I was like, as I said, I was working on it before we even started the live action portions and like getting all the bits and like audio we needed. So I had a lot of stuff prepped. And because I'd already done these web series, weirdly, it was a comforting thing. Because I was like, if I just fuck up all the live action stuff, the animation, I think I'm pretty confident is going to be funny.
Right.
I'm my big thing of like making films is I'm okay at the end of the day if people go, you know what, that wasn't that great. But I don't want them to watch it and go like, that was just uninteresting and boring. I don't know why that was made. All that. I'm like, I want them to go, that was bad, but I can see what he was trying to do.
Right.
Like that's why I like the weird movies and stuff.
Yeah.
The weird Tubi in the very crevices. You're like, what is this? And you're like, what the hell was that? I'm gonna give this to all my friends now. What was that?
Yeah, the worst thing you could be is like, meh, like,
exactly.
Oh, that was fine,
Yes.
Yeah.
Call me offensive, but don't call me boring.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So,
And
that's
so the
nuts.
animation for me was like, at least we're doing something new.
Yeah.
We're doing something fun in the movie.
Yeah, well, I will say animation is what would set you apart from all, everybody else. You know, it's your secret thing. And the thing is, like, you did it. You have your own style. I love the sleep paralysis demon.
Thank you very
That was
much.
very cool.
That was
Very
really cool because I mean you blended the animation and the live action, which
Yeah, and that
that's
was
cool.
my buddy Kevin Giles who did the reference footage for that because he's
okay.
been in a part of a lot of my projects. But I was like,
Nice.
who's willing to wear a morph suit and just like crawl up my body for like a couple hours? I'm like, oh,
Wait, so
Kevin.
is that how you did it? That's funny.
Interesting.
So you
Wow.
had somebody wear a morph suit?
Yeah, and so and then we rotoscoped it. And then I like added like the horns and like changed his proportions and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess I didn't know. I don't know what I thought. I was like, I don't
And
know.
as someone who has like the sleep paralysis demon thing, very accurate
Dude,
like,
okay.
way
yes,
of doing it.
I saw that. So this is based on like your life.
Yes.
Like
yes.
a lot of it. I'm sure there's a lot of, the fiction. But do you want to get into
Yeah, sure.
the sleep paralysis stuff?
It's very much about my own dealing with anxiety and how that manifests for me, which specifically is I am very bad at sleeping. People who know me often I told my cousin about this movie, and he goes, "Oh, that makes sense. You've had trouble sleeping since you were like 6."
Right,
And I'm
wow.
like, "Wow,
Really?
I didn't know that was that open of an issue, but fine."
right.
Wow.
But basically, because I have like had the diagnoses, and they're basically like, yeah, no, so you're like pushing things down, and then once you're like in your sleep, your emotions are coming out in weird ways.
Interesting.
Right.
So I have like night terrors and the sleep paralysis issue, which is when you basically your mind is awake, but your body is not. And it happens so often to me, I'm used to it.
Wow.
But sometimes your mind is half awake in that it still can hallucinate. And it'll have, for me, like the guy crawling up my body.
Yeah.
And like that's terrifying.
That's
I've woken
fucked up.
Yeah, I've woken up in being like I have scorpions all over my body,
Yeah.
and like turning on the lights. Like where did the scorpions go? I know they're here. I know that they probably don't exist.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God,
try
that's
and go to
insane.
bed now.
Do you ever see like a succubus? Is
No.
that-
Apparently, that's a some people do
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
a female version of the demon. And I'm
They
like,
do.
I want that one.
Right.
That's bullshit.
I know it's kind of crazy. But I've been watching this show called Evil. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No,
it's
I
on
have
Netflix.
heard of it, yes.
Oh, check it out because I feel like you'd like it. But there's these scenes where this woman is having these sleep terrors, and supposedly they start at a young age, and it's very uncommon for you to get them at an older age. But anyway, she starts working with like the Catholic Church, and so she's like dealing with like these exorcisms and stuff like that. And she's like a psychologist, so she doesn't believe in anything like that crazy, crazy stuff. But then she gets, she has this dream, and there's like a demon that's terrorizing her, and it just
I know
feels
that,
so
yeah.
real. And she's like, how do I get rid of it? And basically the solution is to basically like set an alarm every hour of the day, and then just ask yourself if you're dreaming.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
like every hour, you have to or ask yourself, am I dreaming? And she wears this little like blue bracelet. And so she looks at the bracelet and she asks herself, am I dreaming? So when she gets around to the dream, she looks and she notices that she's dreaming, so she can kind of lucid dream during her night terror.
Oh, like a totem kind of thing from like Inception.
Yeah, because there's like certain things like, if you look at a clock or if you look at writing, so she'll kind of use those tools to kind of help her, realize that she's dreaming to be able to conquer these like sleep demons. So I always think because it's based on truth. That is how you can solve those things supposedly. But I've tried getting into the lucid dreaming, but it's very difficult.
I've heard people who say they can lucid dream, and I've never been able to do it. So.
I've done it like I feel like maybe a handful of times, but it's not easy.
No, it sounds awesome. It sounds like you're all of a sudden
Yeah.
in like a video game, and you're like, I could do anything.
But even
Yeah.
then, it's not that easy because it's like even when you know that you're dreaming, there's still like the limitations of your own mind. Like,
Yeah.
well, what can I do?
Like real talk, the only time I had lucid dreaming was when I was trying to kick cigarettes. I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore. Cigarettes. And and I had these nicotine patches, and it says it on the little booklet, may cause vivid dreams.
Oh.
And I remember one night
That's
having
a nice
dream.
way of saying that.
Yeah. And then I would have these very vivid dreams. And I remember one night I had a dream I was at a party, and then I woke up and I was like, I want to go back to the party. And then I just went to sleep and I was at the party.
Oh,
It
that's
was,
cool.
Yeah. See, my dream, your thing, it's pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's not good.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not I don't mean to use the improper, because listen, let's
No,
talk
it's
about
wild. No, it's fucked up.
mental health and all that stuff. It's important. We are taught to suppress everything.
Yeah.
Look, Jack, I am of this old school. I suppress things.
Yeah.
It comes out in wild ways. My red hair turns red. My hair turns red and stuff. I become nuts. But I will say, I would hate to see the industry and life take you and kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I would say is, yeah, do your mental health thing. But man, that is fucked. I mean,
I've woken up and punched walls before.
Whoa,
like, it's
really?
been, yeah.
How are you now?
I'm better. I mean, it gets to the end of the film, but it's like just like you need to like you can't ignore it, because I ignored it for forever, and I would be like, and I would like have these nights where I not even just dream related, but would just like all of a sudden spiral, and I'd be pacing up and down my like room, like just like on the verge of tears for no reason, not like just being on the weirdest things that would just set you off.
You smoke weed?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. I can be your therapist. I will be something to you, okay? I'm going to write you a prescription for some fat... You're in California. You have the best weed on the planet.
So I've heard.
And it's a great mental health tool.
But you have to be careful, too, because it does induce certain, like, mental illnesses in young men.
I disagree. I think it does everything.
It's true, though. It can.
And it's
but
great.
I think it's less common as you get older. So that's just for our audience watching.
Yes.
You're growing up, Jack.
Especially if you're under 25, I wouldn't recommend getting into it. But I had to. A little disclaimer.
I disagree. I think listen, you do what you do. Life is not short. It is very long, as they say in Magnolia, as Jason Robart says in Magnolia. It's long. Every day is a fucking test. And you have to find a way to get you through these days without going bonkers. I think just being a human, Richard Pryor said this, it's hard enough just being a human being. It's hard. The human condition is very difficult to navigate, especially when you're dealing with chicks and stuff like that, you know. And sorry.
I didn't mean to that and be like that. I'm not sexist. I want everyone to know that.
No. But what I'm saying is, especially with relationships. Now, I have to ask you a question. April, I'm sorry for referring to women as chicks. It's a pet peeve of hers.
I hate it.
She hates it. I said, we'll call men donkey pigs, and I'm okay with that. But like, was there a woman or person that was the Lauren LaVera role, or was Lauren LaVera's character kind of like a muse creation?
She was basically like an amalgamation of all my past relationships, like because a lot of the things that I talk about in the film like are just directly ripped from my life. Like Lauren has this whole like story about getting rejected from prom.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happened to me that I get which by the way is much worse than the story, and also is my fault for that, because it was based on a bet. Our buddies were like, who's gonna ask the girl out the coolest way? And I'm like, I got this, and you know what? I'm gonna ask out the next girl who's just nice to me.
Right.
Don't do that. That's so fucking dumb.
Right,
oh my god.
right.
Which started a whole thing. And I think watch the movie, you'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I was taking a lot of that stuff from my own life, but other things like her having a boyfriend that was like sending like threatening messages. That's something. Also, the real story's even weirder because I was dating a girl whose boyfriend was sending threatening messages to another guy who wasn't dating her, but he thought she was dating him and not me. So I'm like, I'm dodging a bullet right
Oh my
here.
God.
Wow.
Did he ever find you?
He never found out. I guess I was like, and he met me before. I guess he was
Really?
like, that kid, he's not threatening at all.
Right.
Oh my
Little
gosh.
did he know.
Wow.
How did you guys film that little fight sequence? Was there any like stunts involved?
Another fun story, my friend and I, Jake Westfall, who plays the antagonist of the film, he and I, we choreographed that beforehand, a couple days before, just because we were like, once we're on set, we got to hit the ground running. And so the scene is he and I are finally fighting just to like get it out and base catharsis of all of our tension. And we're doing it shirtless because he's kind of drunk and that's what he thinks is fun. Right. So he and I are in my driveway and we're like, all right, we're going through the scene. We're taking our shirts off and then we're starting to fight each other. All of a sudden, my neighbor from down the street yells out and she goes, hey, my kids are watching you. And we go, we're so sorry. We're like, can we put our shirts back on and like just continue? And she goes, "Why are you even fighting?" And we go, "Oh no, we're not really fighting." Like we hold up the script. We're doing a script thing. It's all
it's a
good. And
movie.
she goes, "Oh, okay, it's fine." But I like for a split second, she was talking to two dudes fighting. And was like, "Stop fighting!" And they went, "If we put our shirts back on, can we keep fighting?"
Oh my god, that's where your mind went.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Oh my
wow.
gosh, how did she didn't see the cameras? Or?
No, we were just like
It
just
was
the
a
two of
rehearsal,
us.
yeah. Oh, okay, that could be confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should hold signs up that say filming.
Yeah.
Don't be alarmed.
This is not real.
Yeah.
Right. So you
But
never
we were
got
also, like,
beaten up.
laughing and stuff.
That didn't happen.
good.
Like you didn't get beaten up in real
No,
life.
no,
right?
no.
If that happened, I would have a big problem with that, Jack. I would put it out to them that this mafia called Wild 7 will come after you.
I appreciate it.
Is there any?
Miles.
Do you have any enemies that you want us to like curse or anything?
Honestly, no. But for the most part, I get along with everybody. I feel like.
Great.
That's I believe that, Jack.
Oh, I thank you.
I get along with you.
Yeah.
We all make a few enemies in our days.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
filmmaking. But
Jack, you have to understand. I'm a wild animal. Hence, Wild 7. I need an enemy. I need someone.
He
to
likes to think
devour.
he is. You know?
I'm a carnivore. In the land of the sheep, I am the wolf. You understand, Jack?
Completely understand.
That's how it is. Jack, you are very wonderful.
Thank
I
you,
love
Niles.
your film. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, I will say though, if I may, just give you some old man advice. I'm 41.
Please.
I have 11 years on you. Okay, to make it through this life, you must find and I'll use a metaphor. You must find the Lauren LaVera within yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying, my friend? Do you get what I'm saying? Like
elaborate.
what I mean is in the film, you now here's the thing. I'm old school. I'm an old macho man G.I. Joe. You understand what I'm saying, Jack? And I feel that in order to not be I feel like people that get anxious, and I don't get it, but I understand. I feel like you're thinking of just don't think of yourself. Smoke some weed, play some Zelda. You know what I mean? That's my diagnosis. April, feel free to disagree with me, but
You
that's
sound
my
like my
thing.
dad. You know,
Right,
it's like
right.
just
Hey,
don't think
Louis,
about it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool. And what I want to
Just
say
don't
is,
be that. You know.
we care about you,
Oh, thank you.
and I really commend that you showed the bravery to put it all out there. You tear up in the thing, and it's very real. You were actually crying, weren't you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's bravery.
Yeah, no, I definitely I agree. I think the film is really brave and really important. I think that everybody should watch it whenever it does come out.
Yes.
In the world, Dreaming of You. Keep an eye out for this
World
film.
premiere, Chinese theater.
Yeah.
Monday, June 24th, 9:30 p.m.
Snap.
Nice. I mean,
I forgot to plug that.
no,
Nice.
we'll plug. Don't worry. But I guess if we release this before then,
Oh yeah, I was also whenever this is out.
Nice.
I think it's going to be the morning of. So that'll.
right.
Oh heck
No,
yeah.
maybe not. Maybe not. Actually, it'll already have passed. So.
Then never
Anyway,
mind.
keep an eye
it
out
was
for it.
awesome. Everybody loved it there.
It was lit. Dolly Parton was there. It was lit.
Oh, gosh.
Listen. Okay, so Jack, I thank you so much for visiting us.
Nas, thank
I
you for
think
having me.
you explained your case. Forget my toxic advice.
Macho Man.
Macho Man G.I. Joe. I care tremendously about you because I saw a piece of your soul in this film, and we care for you. And I want to leave this with a Tupac quote. Do you like Tupac?
Let's hear the quote and I'll judge.
Because this is what we have to say to you. Okay, from now on, you're with us. You're with the big boys now. Okay.
Stop.
All right.
What big boys?
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Me and Blake. Blake. Yeah. I'm down for you, so ride with me. My enemies, your enemies, because you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies, your enemy. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Okay, that
Love
was
it.
it. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say, any call to action you want to say to the good people out there, and where can the good people find you?
I'm on YouTube, Jack McCafferty. Instagram, Sexy Jack McCafferty. The
What?
film. Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Oh.
That's a whole branding
I thought you
thing.
didn't go blue, dude.
You know, you don't.
Sex
I don't
sells,
go
it
blue,
sells.
but I also can't just deny.
He's a sexy man. He's a
I gotta
sexy
be honest,
man.
you
Yeah.
know.
He's gonna be in my film Honk City, The Revenge, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
None
it's
of
gonna be
that.
awesome.
None of
Yeah,
that.
no, okay. Well, it's all got to go through her, so we'll see.
Yeah, not
we'll see if
happening.
I'm allowed. But okay, all
yeah.
right. Blake, could you hit the cosmic drive, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Blake. Please like, share, and subscribe this if you enjoyed it. Please check out Jack's film as it comes available. Follow Jack on the aforementioned socials that he did. And April, where can the good people find us?
Give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Wild7 Studios. Also follow us, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Wild7 Studios. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, April Directs. I post a lot of behind the scenes content, educational content. And yeah, we recently just put out a short film called Austera, written and directed by myself. Check it out, currently on our YouTube channel.
Yes. What other fun things can they check out that we've done?
For anyone who hasn't seen, we have a movie called Debbie and the Devil and the accompanying documentary called Hellacious, the making of an indie horror film. So if you like the making of, behind the scenes kind of content, check out our film. And yes, keep an eye out for Dreaming of You, starring Jack McCafferty. I almost messed that one up. Also co-starring Lauren LaVera from Terrifier 2. I can't wait for everyone to see this film. I think they're going to love it. And best of luck to you at your premiere. Very exciting. Yeah. Right. One last question. If you can give any advice to a filmmaker out there, what would you give them?
Be nice, because you're going to have to ask for a lot of favors.
Right.
I love that. That's the best one, honestly.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the day.